Now, China has been holding the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation every 3 years since 2000, which is widely seen as an important means of advancing Chinese diplomatic and commercial interest. Other nations holding Africa summits too include Russia, Turkey and Japan, and the United States of America. The growth in sub-Saharan Africa can also be good by the fact that the IMF operated or upgraded many countries in the region: Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia to the rank of emerging market. And this leaves the question as to what extent are these Western countries interested in Africa and why? To get more perspective on this, the District Agricultural Coordinator, Ministry of Agriculture in Lusaka, Zambia, Nicholas Mainza, joins us now. Thank you, Nicholas, for joining us on the news.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Good afternoon, Nicholas. Now, the major question here would be, why exactly are these Western countries interested in the African market? Is there anything spectacular about the African market?
Okay. To start with, I would want to make mention that Africa as a continent, it is actually a favorable destination for all the other continents in terms of doing business. The environment is favorable. Africa, we are blessed to have, a young workforce. And, when you have a youth population, it's always good for business because there's always a lower production costs. And also what I can make mention today is that, Africa is actually regarded as, we have fast adopters in terms of technology. And also in Africa, I think I can say it's a good environment in terms of doing investment. Then also something which is a fact about Africa, West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, even Southern Africa, is that this is a continent which is rich of resource. And what I mean by resource is that there's plenty of land, arable land for agricultural activities. There's also enough water. There's also plenty of minerals. Plenty of minerals. You talk of gold, you talk of diamonds, you talk of manganese and the like. Africa is also rich when it comes to oil. West Africa has a lot of oil. East Africa has a lot of oil. And never, we can't go without mentioning the rich, resource that we have, which is a human resource. We have good people in Africa. Then there's also a high return on foreign direct investment, FDI, when it comes to Africa. So this is what actually has spurred, the other, continents to come, all of them to start trickling into Africa to come and do business with Africa.
Okay, Nicholas, one thing about Africans and the Africa bodies generally is that there would always be summit. And as we know, the China-Africa Cooperation Summit has been holding for about 3 years now. How, in your own perspective, effective would you say that this summit have been?
Come again?
So I'm talking about the summit, the China-Africa Summit that has been holding for about 3 years. And I'm basically asking, in your own opinion, how effective would you say that this summit have been? Should it be continued or should it be scrapped? Because, has there been results from the summit?
Outright. For me, in my own opinion and my own understanding, the summit must go ahead. It must be called for, that it should continue, go ahead, so that we are able to have those bilateral talks, have the, discuss about the economy, in terms of the economic activities that needs to be done. We need a lot of industrialization. We need a lot of, mining activities to take place. And in here we are talking about the partnership. That's what we need to do. And whenever you're talking about partnership, it's about win-win situation where, the East must win, and Africa must win as a continent. So, China for me has been a very good destination, a very good kind of friends that, can relate well with Africa as a continent. All we need to do is that, for China or for East, so to say, they are able to give you the money. All you need to do is that, be strict when it comes to the conditions that you are able to give them to say, you may give us your money, but this is our stance as Africa as well. This is what we need from you. We need money, but this is the extent of business that we can do with you. Only this A, B, C, D like that. Otherwise, the summit must go ahead. It's good for our own development in terms of the economic affairs, as well as just the human development as a continent.
All right, Nicholas, finally, to the extent of your own knowledge, I would like to know if there are any measures in the works to ensure that Africa has a thriving market, a better market. Are there any plans like that?
Yes, I would give a bit of indicators. You know, Africa for a very long time has been taken as a dumping site. I would call it that way. A lot of continents, so to say, whether the West, the East, Asia, they've taken Africa as a continent for granted to say it's a dumping site. Whenever they want to finish up their products, want to finish up everything in terms of any other activities, their ventures, then that's when they want to come into Africa. So it's a high time, the African leaders that be, the powers that be for the continent, they need to stand up and stand for the continent very seriously and make a position that, Africa is not a dumping site. What we need is a standard. We need ABC in terms of the partnership. What we need is to benefit from your policies that you have, the business policies. Africa can be a good, place or market for China. It can be a good place for the East and for the West. And therefore, like I had mentioned, Africa has a youth population, which is a good, resource to lower the production costs in terms of doing business. And the West or East, they have the elderly population. So we need a symbiosis, relationship over that. And also remember, the West has the good technology. Okay, even the East as well. They are improved. These are developed nations. And Africa, we are good in terms of adaptation of the technology. So we need to agree on those kind of indicators. Then let me mention also that our colleagues, they have the money, which is the primary resource to this, and then we have the natural resources. So this is their market. This is their market. They can here obtain what they want in terms of the resources, which I had mentioned: the land, the minerals, the resource, the oil. But then, can we agree in terms of the favorable conditions to say we are going to benefit as a continent, but not taking us for granted to say this is a dumping site. They come and do their business, off they go, and then they leave us in the poor state.
Okay.
Otherwise, that is my stance on that.
Right, very well said. Thank you so much, District Agricultural Coordinator, Ministry of Agriculture in Lusaka, Zambia, Nicholas Mainza. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.